What's up, guys? I want to show you guys this behind the scenes look on Black Ops 2. Some of the information you guys have probably already seen, but it has a lot of good information and it's kind of all in one. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. More Black Ops 2 news this week. The game's a few weeks away, guys. Get excited. Anyway, I hope you guys like this video. I'll do a video tomorrow and I'll see you guys later.
Hey, Bonus Round is back here inside of Treyarch, going behind the design of Black Ops 2. I'm here with Mark Lamia, Dan Bunting, and Jimmy Zielinski to talk about what we can expect from this game when it comes out on November 13th. And now we're going to move on to MP, which is such a key part of the Call of Duty experience. Dan, I know you and Vaughn, really wanted to go back to first principles, I think, with multiplayer, and I don't even know where you started with this, because Black Ops was obviously a huge phenomenon. What motivated you guys to say let's dial it completely back and let's start again?
Well, I think we're a little personally a little crazy. We kind of just we get bored with things that we do, and we want to keep pushing things forward. And when I said before, challenging assumptions, challenging ourselves to get out of our safety zone, that's something that it's just natural to us. We start the project and oh, let's throw everything away that we did last time and start over.
Well, I remember I was out once with Vaughn, and he had a piece of paper. He took a lighter to it. He said, "This is what we're doing to multiplayer to disintegrate." And he really was just like burning it down and building it back up, right?
I think that's where we start. We get back to, like you said, get back to some of the core components of the game. It was a very conscious effort to say let's take all these conventions that we have in our game that we've established through game after game after game, and let's stop thinking of them as how they are right now, and let's just throw them all away and start over and say, why did they go into the game in the first place? And create a class was really the first place where I think we kind of broke ground on that. It was, we literally had a conversation. Dave Anthony was just harassing me for a month. I think we were wrapping up DLC, so we were all kind of, none of us wanted to think about the next game. We were just like, all right, let's get DLC out the door. And so he was like, you got to start thinking about the next game and think about what you're going to do that's new and different. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And then one day it finally kind of hit me. I think I got over the DLC side of things, and I was like, yeah, we do need to start challenging some of the conventions that we've been doing before. And rushed into Vaughn's office, and I was like, I have all these ideas. Let's talk. And so we sat down, and we were like, one of the first things we said was, what if we took away some things that we had in the game, and what if we took away the fact that create a class has categories? For example, what if you didn't have categories? What if you didn't have to pick a primary weapon, a secondary weapon, a lethal grenade, a tactical grenade? What if you just said, here's all the content, and you've got a budget now? And that was kind of a starting point for really the epic development that happened on that feature. And the very first place that we went to was we started thinking about, what if everything had a cost? And so everything was kind of variable cost. So you had maybe a weapon was 1,000 points and a grenade was 600 points. And it got really complex, and people
to balance that and figure it out.
To balance it, it was kind of a nightmare, and people also were just some of the feedback coming back from the team was like, man, I don't want to do math. I don't want to think about these numbers when I'm trying to put my classes together.
Like building your character up. They tore it all down. Imagine your blank screen, and then you're just you're loading up your character.
Yeah.
And on some level, it was obviously we actually had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun internally, but I think accessibility on the franchise, I think, is important. We have accessibility plus depth is really critical, and so I think that was
Yeah, so the next evolution was let's simplify down. We started out with a 100,000 point budget, and we started taking zeros away. It was the first step we did, and then from there it just kept going down until we said, all right, everything's just 1 point. That's crazy, but let's try it. And I think the first reaction from the team was, oh my God, how are we going to balance this? Everything's going to be, there's going to be these crazy combinations. How do you say a smoke grenade is as valuable as an assault rifle? But the reality is, it challenged you to make everything better. So we said, okay, smoke grenade kind of sucks. Nobody uses it, so let's make it better. And also, you can't have more than 2 assault rifles. It's not like you're going to have 10 assault rifles. So you can't. That argument doesn't really fly. There's sort of a natural balance to the system and the way it works. And then from there, it was just tuning all the features and making sure that the usability of the interaction with Create a Class was fun to use and intuitive for players. And I think that was probably the longest part of the process, was once we got to the point where we said, okay, everything's one point. Now it's like, okay, you've got this grid system and people are kind of confused with how you interact with this button and going back and forth in the menus. And so then it was just make everything easy to use and intuitive. And that took the longest amount of time.
So, that obviously led to a bunch of other innovations, because it wasn't like you just said, hey, let's do Create a Class. I mean, then you moved over to saying, hey, let's rethink, kill streaks into score streaks and all that stuff. And it was like every element of this game you were reevaluating.
So in the same conversation where we started throwing away everything that was done before in Create a Class, we said, okay, kill streak system. I want this game to feel like a fighting game. I want to be like, I'm powering up, I'm getting bonus multipliers, I'm like, I'm charging up my meter to get something big. And that was where the whole score streak concept originated. It was literally like, let's fill this meter and let's get some bonus multipliers, things that you do. Even in World at War for the co-op campaign, we had this feature where you could turn on scoring, and you could, if you got a certain number of kills in a row within a time limit or without dying, you would get these bonus multipliers that would get you a higher score. Wow. So it was kind of something along that line, that vibe, and that kind of had some initial problems with that, and ultimately it came back to where we ended up with, which is a much sleeker system and one that works a lot better, I think.
And I think they also wanted to reward, one of the goals was you guys wanted to reward not just Slayers, but people who are actually playing the game modes and have the score that's on screen that you've always seen actually directly relate to that, which, I think is great, because, if you're playing Team Deathmatch, of course, it's kills that are the most important thing, but if you're playing some of these objective-based modes, it would be nice to be rewarded for playing the mode as well and being able to get the reward at the end of that.
And obviously you guys, with, thinking of Black Ops, like wager matches and things like that, I mean, you guys were known for doing some innovative things on Black Ops. Did you think about how much of that you wanted to bring back and how much you wanted to reinvent for Black Ops 2?
Yeah, of course, we looked at everything. I think that
things that worked, didn't work as well as you expected.
Even the theater, it was like, what do we, the theater was really the beginning of where this whole live streaming thing came from. It was kind of a convergence of the esports initiative that we had started learning about a lot more in depth on Black Ops 1, and how we had started with theater. Theater was originally kind of conceived as just a cool way for our players to share content with their friends and show all their awesome moments off in the game. And that kind of evolved into, well, we also want to do a lot more with esports. And then it was like, I got it. Let's turn Call of Duty Black Ops multiplayer into a spectator sport. And that was sort of the kind of the moment where it was like, okay, we can go a really long way with the theater feature, and that the technology for live streaming is built off of where we started with theater on last game.
Stick around. When we come back, we'll talk more about multiplayer in Black Ops 2.